In the research stages, I relied on programs such as YouTube to aid me in the research of my textual analysis, to find films that could influence and inspire my own work. I also used YouTube to display my own work on my channel, which made sharing my work with the members of my target audience much simpler and effective. YouTube also gave me a vast amount of short films which I relied upon to aid the important design and idea stages of my work. This is where I found textual analysis such as 2 + 2 = 5 and identity that gave me the idea to create a short film about mental health. As well as this, YouTube gave me access to archive interviews and documentaries surrounding the subject of split personality disorder, which gave me more data and information to work on surrounding the subject. To communicate the purpose of my production and journey it has taken to get to the finished product, I used an online blog on the program WordPress. WordPress has allowed me to document photos, screenshots and videos in a visual way. This has made the accessibility of my media work much easier to get hold of, allowing me free rein to modify my blog on various media devices and platforms. The perks of having an online blog also has meant that members of my target audience and my peers are able to give me more additional feedback on my work, as it is accessible to more people by being on the internet. In the planning stages, the program ScriptBuddy was a big part of the construction of my script, which I used throughout the process as an aid to help me develop my narrative. I was able to evolve from my previous scripting by using the appropriate features on this site more accurately, such as stage directions and scene changes, to achieve a script which I was confident could aid me through the production process. Using ScriptBuddy enabled me to print off PDF copies of my work to share with each of the actors in my film, and additional composers and peers to show clearly the narrative of my film in one document. Another online program I have explored this year is DaFont. This provides endless font types online which can be downloaded and incorporated into programs across different Mac softwares. Having not looked into this as an option last year, I was surprised at the simplicity yet effectiveness this program created for my titles in my film, poster and review. The font allowed me to use an appropriate typography in my film which reflected the genre of my film to add to the mise-en-scène. The most efficient change in my media skills was in the way I used the program Final Cut Express 4.0. Final Cut for me was always the most complex program to use, as it was much more technical than any other program. However, my confidence with Final Cut has grown, and as a result I was able to use more features to develop my final production. This was reflected through more complex editing transitions such as the fade to white for the beginning and the end of the flashback scene, as well as overlaying titles at the end of the film on top of moving footage. I achieved this feature by changing the opacity of the overlaying text in the timeline below. Features such as these had never crossed my mind before, which shows the development of my technical media abilities. Final Cut enabled me to view the production in a timeline structure, so I could visually observe the progression of my narrative. Photoshop played a huge part in the process of creating my film poster. Having used Photoshop in other creative subjects like photography, I was already familiar with the complex layout and new language it requires to use such a program. However, even still, the plans I had in mind for my film poster required me to evolve and improve my current Photoshop skills to achieve the desired effects I required. As I wanted to change the opacity of each individual character, I removed each character from the image using the Magic Wand selecting tool. With the help of online YouTube tutorials, this complex task was made much easier. Not only did this improve the quality of my film poster, it has developed my knowledge of Photoshop, which I can now incorporate into my other subjects. I have also become more confident in other aspects in Photoshop, which I wasn't before, such as changing the opacity of selected layers and organising different layers. The biggest challenge of my A2 work was using the program InDesign to create the film review. On first appearance, InDesign made Final Cut and Photoshop look easy. However, once I got into how the program functions, I was able to pick up on the features of InDesign which makes the program work. The challenge of InDesign was to replicate the complex layout of the Empire magazine. This required making various shapes such as ribbons and arrows to replicate that of Empire, whilst incorporating all different fonts and textual features of the review. However complex I initially found the program, InDesign proved itself to be the best program available for the job of the review. InDesign allowed me to draft a document in the columns and show familiar features of a film review, all in one program, which was time effective for the task I was doing. Using manual hardware settings on my equipment also improved the quality of my work. Using an Apple iMac computer has been essential in accessing the best editing and production programs, which has made my film possible. My general awareness of Apple iMac features have improved, and I have adapted the efficiency of my work through using shortcuts on the keyboard, which has pushed my skill level with the hardware system.